G'day, Alan. How's it going, Cobber? Just a response to watching your, I think it must have been a Rob Walker contest from about a year ago. Great video, which, I've already commented. But I just had to add something. Yeah, I've always been fascinated by language and languages. Um, I did do advanced French, but that was 60 years ago, almost 60 years back. And I've never had much use for it. I have a couple of friends on Facebook in France, and I know what they're talking about when they write in French. I can read and write French quite well, but when I was in Paris back in the 1970s, I didn't even try because it's. I know Parisians consider themselves yeah, they're a separate race. I don't know, whatever, waffling. The Australian accent is mainly because they speak through the nose. It's a nasal language, and there's a reason for that. Because with Australia riding on the sheep's back, literally, in some cases, sexual companion, and you can eat it later. If you're a serial killer type, you can rape the sheep, murder it, and eat it. No, that's New Zealanders, Kiwis. Sorry, wrong country, mate. Um, uh, Off track again. I'm not even drunk. It's hopeless, isn't it? Yeah, so I never had much use for it, but I had a German girlfriend for on and off for about 5 or 6 years. And I lived with her in Germany in Dusseldorf for a while, and even and I wanted to learn German, but as usual, I was jigging off school, and I forgot that you had to get in early to choose what subjects you wanted to do that year, and I wanted to do German, and I got there late, and all my mates took the German class. I ended up with French, and I was the only male in the class for 3 or 4 years. So whenever the male part came up, I had to speak like a Frenchman, or oh monsieur, oh poo oh madame foo. Yeah, fucking hideous. It's a beautiful language on paper, French, but to hear it, I find it rather effeminate. And ironically, I found the opposite in German. It's a very harsh, clunky, clanky sort of a language, and yet, especially when spoken by the females, it's quite melodic in its own way. Not the big words, but just in general speech. I find German quite. It's far closer to English than French. Now, of course, you know all this stuff, but I'm just doing it anyway because I just feel like talking about it. Um, the as pre the Roman conquest or invasion of Britain, and so pre-Romans, I think, is Anglo-Saxon. I'm not quite certain on the dates there, but yeah, obviously English, Old English. I actually I had a YouTube channel I used to follow, and it was fascinating. It was not by an Englishman; it was by someone from Poland or someplace that speaks about 20 languages. But it was incredibly interesting, and yeah, the Old English is pretty much a Germanic language, and with and I include the, the Scandinavian countries in amongst the Germanic languages. So I'm 25% Scandinavian, and I love to watch those Scandinavian TV shows. And if I just sort of just look at their facial expressions, their mannerisms, certain words, I don't actually know the exact meaning of those words, but I can pretty much get the gist of what they're talking about without the subtitles. And it was like that when I was living in Germany. I couldn't, I hadn't learnt the German language, and yet there was enough. Is it genetic memory? You know, because I'm about 20% German extraction as well. Is it some sort of genetic memory thing? Because I could tell what they were talking about without literally knowing the exact words, and you know, so yeah, it's always fascinated me, and I consider the ugliest language in Western Europe is Dutch. I just really, oh God. And yet, if you read Dutch in subtitles, if you're watching a Dutch movie, a lot of the words that were taken from the Dutch and taken on by the English, you know, like coffee. Well, I know it doesn't. No, don't say that. But it, it's it, it's about tuning in and tuning out. If you sort of tune in, you can pick up certain words, and they go, "Oh my God, that that I know what that means." The English word was obviously from the Dutch or the Danish or whatever. But I don't know if everyone else can do this. But I love if I'm bored watching a TV show or something or a YouTube channel like Rob Walker. Oh, did I say Rob Walker? Oh God, he doesn't watch this anyway, so who cares? Yeah. But if I'm being bored, I just tune out. I can tune out of English easily. I just tune out, and then you can hear its origins. You can hear it sort of sounds to me, even modern English with all the French, hideous French, Latin, not hideous, but um, the French and Latin base. Okay, French. God, I'm getting too complicated. Um, French is heavily Latin, you know, so Latin based, like most of those languages in that area. And it's only when the Normans, and see, Normans, they call them French. They're not. The Normans weren't French. They were from, Norman literally means Norseman, man from the north. They were Vikings that captured parts of, let's not get in that, Brittany and then Britain. See what I mean? They're Norsemen. They weren't French. They weren't Madame Foo-Foos. They were Norsemen. Um, yeah, so the modern English, of course, is heavily, you know, I think maybe up to 50% of the English language is French. Beef, le boeuf, so on and so forth. It goes on and on and on. Nothing wrong with that because it works well. And so French in some ways is quite an easy language to learn. The problem I had and still have with the German and the French and all those other Latin languages is applying a sex, this male or female to everything. So to piss off my friend Eric, who's actually a published author in France, just to piss him off, I write him little notes and say things like le chat et la chienne, you know, just change the sex around. And I mean, he's got a great sense of humour, but it pisses them off. It's such fun. It's so easy to piss them off. But yeah, I just tune out. And then I can actually hear, especially, especially 9 minutes, nine, but hurry. When I see those shows from northern England, see, I have 35% English, but it's southern England, you know, Somerset, Devon, Cambridge, and nothing much north of Cambridge, pretty much, you know, Southampton, Bournemouth, that's where most of my pommy bastard grandparents came from, down there. And London itself, of course, Richmond, Surrey. I hope you can understand what I'm saying because I got no teeth, very few teeth left, so it is difficult for me to pronounce properly. But, lost the thread. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I find those shows, the Northern England, incredibly difficult to understand their accent. Really hard. And the Scots, oh my God. And I'm 20% Scot, you know, honestly. Ye gods. And if I tune out of English, it sounds like listening to one of those shows from Northern England or Scotland or Denmark or Holland even. God help us. Um, I just tune out, and it's to me English. Even with all that's what I was trying to get to. Even with all the French and Latin based words that have come into the English language over the last 1,000 years, um, I can still hear the Scandinavian and Teutonic roots. It's still very very strong there. Um, it's um, it's an incredibly interesting subject. So anyway, that was fun. I enjoyed that video, and it's made me think. Catch, see ya, mate.